What if I told you that the President of the United States was selling his own words to Wall Street for a fee? That's exactly what's happening with Trump Media's new Truth API, and it's raising all sorts of questions about power, money, and the future of democracy. Let me break this down for you in a way that's not just facts, but real-world implications that hit closer to home than you might think. Here's the deal. Trump Media launched this API to give select customers real-time access to posts from high-profile Truth Social accounts, including, of course, the former president himself. And let's be honest, when Trump tweets, markets often react. But now, some people are getting that info seconds before the rest of us. And that's where the fireworks start. Personally, I think this is one of the most fascinating examples of how technology and politics are colliding in ways we're barely beginning to understand. Imagine paying $60,000 a month just to get ahead of the curve on Trump's latest rant about Iran. Sounds like a scam, right? But for institutional investors, that's a potential edge in a game where milliseconds matter. What makes this really interesting is the ethical gray area it creates. If you're paying for inside info, are you still playing fair? And who's actually winning here, the people with money, or the system itself? Let's talk about the people reacting to this. Jim Bianco, a market analyst, thinks this could lead to even more market-moving posts from Trump. But does that mean he's becoming a puppet for Wall Street? Or is he just leveraging his platform in the most obvious way possible? Meanwhile, Sean McGuire, a Trump supporter, is actually criticizing this move. Why? Because he thinks it cheapens the president's actual policy achievements. That's wild, supporting Trump but still calling out his business practices. It shows how complicated loyalty can be when money is involved. Then there's Dean Baker, who's pointing out that this isn't just a Wall Street issue. He's saying that everyday Americans are the real losers here. Because when insiders get an edge, the rest of us are left picking up the pieces. And let's face it, the average person doesn't have the tools to game the system like hedge funds do. This feels like another example of how the wealthy are creating loopholes that let them profit off the backs of everyone else. But here's the kicker. James Surowiecki is saying this might actually be illegal. He argues that Trump is misappropriating government information for profit, which violates his duty as a public official. If that's true, then this isn't just a business move, it's a potential scandal waiting to happen. And if you're paying for the feed, you're complicit in that, too. That's a pretty damning accusation, and it raises a deeper question: how do we hold people in power accountable when they're also entrepreneurs? I find it fascinating that Jason Calacanis is saying Trump's inner circle isn't giving him honest feedback. If they're too scared to call out dumb ideas, how does that affect the country? It's like having a CEO surrounded by yes men, but with nuclear codes. And when he says, imagine you're running the SEC and the administration says for $1.2 million a year he'll let you front-run the market, that's not just a hypothetical. It's a warning about how corrupt systems can become when money talks louder than ethics. Then there's Vuk Vukovic, who's basically calling this a scam. He says Trump's tweets are just noise, and trying to trade on them is a losing game. But here's the thing, even if the data is noisy, the fact that people are paying for it shows how desperate some investors are to find any edge. And that desperation is what keeps the system spinning. So what does this all mean? It's not just about Trump or Truth Social. It's about how power is being redefined in the digital age. When politicians can monetize their influence, and when Wall Street can pay for real-time access to that influence, we're seeing a new kind of economy, one where information is the ultimate currency. And in that economy, the rules are still being written. But here's the final thought: if this is the future, what does it say about our democracy? Are we okay with leaders selling their words to the highest bidder? Or is this just the beginning of a much bigger reckoning? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. What do you think? Does this change the game, or is it just another example of the system working exactly as it's always worked?